You're nothing to me now. You're not a brother. You're not a friend. I don't want to know you or what you do. When you see your mother, I want to know a day in advance so I won't be there. But first,
Five God on the beat.
welcome to the Deep Focus Podcast. As always, I'm your co-host Varun. I'm my boy Murad. How's it going, man?
Doing all right. I'm looking outside. It's not sunny, so I'm like kind of bummed because it's June and it looks like it's gonna rain, which is also whack because it's June. But you know what? I'm alive. I'm surviving. There's a race car driving out there for some reason because it's like 9:30. So why not rev your engines up? I'm really riled up this morning, as you can tell. So that's me. How are you?
I'm living the dream, man. I'm doing something I'm passionate about. I am tired as always, but it is what it is. We're here to record. We're here to bring out content. I'm very excited to talk about what we have on the plate today. As always, you can find us on all audio platforms for your audio podcast. Our podcast, we're there now. We also have Spotify, Google Podcasts, again, anywhere you get your audio. If you are more of a visual person, we are available on YouTube at the Deep Focus Podcast. And don't forget to follow our social medias, the Deep Focus Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Today we will be doing a recap of Luca, which came out on Disney Plus on Friday. This is not a continuation of our Pixar week. We had a really fun time doing that, so I hope you guys did too. And we will be talking about In the Heights right after that. Which is funny because most of you who know me know that I do not like musicals, especially with this much singing and as everything that involves with this. But I do have a very interesting take towards that. And I'm going to let you guys know how Moral let everyone down right before that. Hence what motivated me with that quote today. Uh,
Oh, that's what did it? Come on, dude.
yeah. I actually had a nice quote. Like I had ready. I was ready. I
And
was
then
in
you just like,
the,
I'm just
yeah,
gonna
I'm like,
fuck
this
this
guy.
up.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going to bring that up after our Luca
Yeah.
uh, after our Luca review right before In the Heights, you guys know one where our line is from because I'm hoping you guys do. Murad had to think about it and he's still not sure. I'm gonna give him half the episode to think about it, so I'm gonna give him benefit of the doubt. But everyone sees you right now, Murad. So if I see you typing, I'm gonna
Yeah.
assume you're looking for it. And but I'll bring that
What
up
if
so you
what if
guys
I'm
will know
looking
the
up some
theme.
useful information?
I'm always gonna assume that you're looking up this.
Hey,
So
what did they say?
negative
Assume
intent.
positive intent.
Negative intent right here, Murad. You
Just
let me
flip
down
the
once already.
script on me, man.
I have no other reason to think
I
positive
don't
at this moment.
look.
It is what it is. It's all good, man.
I
So
don't know
before
quotes
we
like
get into
that
things,
unless it's Family Guy. You know, like that. I'll know off the bat.
but this is a movie that is that's all I'm gonna say because I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I don't want you need to know what it is. But you know what? We'll get to that part. Like I said, we will get to that part later on in the episode. Like I said, we already finished Pixar week. Rewatching anything else because we have a lot of stuff that come out recently.
Yeah.
When it comes to movies and TV, I haven't been watching any new TV. I was wondering if you see anything. I know Loki's been out for a couple episodes now.
I haven't. So I watched the first episode of Loki, which
Okay.
I thought was good. It was kind of confusing, but I understood where they were going with it. I haven't seen the second one, but
Okay.
I've really been enjoying the Big Shot. I think not Big Shot, the Big Shot.
So you still watch?
Stamos
Is that
show.
still going on?
It's still
That's
going on.
that Stamos show, right? With the basketball.
Yes, it's cool. There's something about it. There's something so funny about seeing like people go through high school and everything is a big deal and everything is like apocalyptic. However, there's a lot of heart to it. I don't know. There's always a part of me that loves like teenage drama, comedy shows like that. You know, so it's kind of why I like Riverdale for a little bit, and then it got all spooky, and I was like not really about it. But Big Shot hasn't had any witches or like blood sacrifices of 15-year-olds yet, so I'm good.
Oh, I still have. I will watch it eventually, mainly because it has Stamos and it has basketball. Like
Yeah,
those two for me has a spot already.
yeah,
Not as big on high school related TV or movie, it's very hard for me to sort of get into
Yeah.
that unless it's a comedy, right? Like
Yeah.
I've seen like also like classic comedies like I what's come out recently that's on that.
Like
I'm
classic
bl-
high school kind of
like
comedies. I
yeah.
would say 21 and Jump Street was kind of like a high school comedy.
Yes,
They
I
went back to
get.
high school.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Super
Yeah.
bad too in a way was there
Super bad.
too.
Oh, so funny.
So good. And then
Yeah.
was it the boys? No, not the boys.
No, the boys were they were like 8, 9 years
Or
old. That movie was fucked up.
no, I'm thinking about the Seth Rogen comedy movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quickly
Oh no,
look that
The
up.
Boys is the TV show. Good Boys, Good Boys.
The Good Boys. There you go.
Yeah.
Which I
I
absolutely
was,
loved.
you know
I'm
what's
a
funny? I
huge
was
fan.
gonna look that up, and I didn't want you to yell at me.
No, I would have killed you if you
But I
done
need to
that.
find that information. Ah,
If you want to continue with the people down, you can. It's totally up to you. But
I forgot.
yeah,
What did I
so
say? I forgot what the quote was, and I just want to look up information. Not the quote, but
no.
like if it was called Good Boys or The Boys. Come on.
This is why you do preparation before the podcast, Murad. Come on
Oh,
now.
that's supposed to know you're gonna bring up Good
Um,
Boys. That's so
and now Murad's already crying, guys. Like, remember, he's the one who said that Toy Story 3 didn't have a great ending, right? So it had a neat
I didn't
ending,
say
no
great
emotional
ending. I didn't
attachment.
say it didn't have a great ending. Let's let the record show. If you listen back, I said it wrapped up logically. All right, like the
Logically,
toys
that makes
lived,
no
and then they moved
sense.
on to another owner. So I was like, I was cool about it. I didn't say it was a bad ending. Never. It was a good ending. It was logical. It made sense, and it wrapped up, and I was like, cool. The fourth one I feel like didn't really have to be there, but they did it. So what are you gonna do? I guess Tom Hanks needs more money.
How dare you talk down Tom
God.
Hanks like that?
That was
He's an
obviously a
American
joke.
treasure. He's
He
an
is a
American
national
You can't.
treasure. It doesn't mean you can't like make slight jokes about it.
No,
Come on.
you can't.
Ever?
Um,
It's Tom Hanks.
so what I've been watching, because I think we're all tired of talking to you right now, to hear about what you've done
Oh
with your
no.
Disney Plus children drama. But if you haven't seen it yet, so I've never been a big Bo Burnham fan. I love stand up comedy, so I'll watch really pretty much anything has been out there. But Bo Burnham has been a comedian that I just haven't really got into for whatever reason. Not think he's bad or anything. It's not something I have been enjoying. He had a Netflix special was released a few weeks ago. I'm not sure if you've seen it, Murad, but it was been talked about quite a bit, and
I
a lot of conversations have been happening around it. So this is Bo Burnham inside. Sorry, what were you gonna
Right.
say?
I was gonna say I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot of good things. Like you, I haven't really gotten into Bo Burnham in that way. I tried to watch a few stand-up specials, a few years back. I wasn't a fan of his comedy style. I think there was one with him and a piano, and I was just thinking like this isn't really for me. I've heard this one is a stroke of genius though because it's taken that like the length of time that we've been inside for him to do this, which
So that's exactly it. So Bo Burnham Inside is a comedy special written, created, filmed, everything by him.
by him.
So he's really recording this entire thing through the pandemic in his apartment, and it was amazing. Like what he did, the creativity behind it, and just the respect he deserves just for the idea and the creativeness behind it alone is worth checking out.
Okay.
If you're a if you're a Bo Burnham fan, I highly recommend watching this because you will absolutely love this. Again, the comedy isn't really my thing, like what you talked about already, Murad, like with the piano and singing and things like that. When it comes to comedy specials, I'm a little old school where I like this guy that's standing up telling jokes.
Yeah.
The furthest I'll go is like with Dave Chappelle or Key and Peele when it comes to skit comedy a little bit. That's really more driven from my love from Saturday Night Live.
SNL, yeah.
But I really recommend checking this out. If you haven't seen it yet, it's available right now on Netflix. It is a Netflix special. Netflix continues to bring out this amazing comedy specials, and there'll be more coming out. I know we're talking about offline right before we started, but Gabriel Iglesias has a Netflix special coming out soon. I'm sure Bill Burr has something coming out soon again, and I believe Kevin Hart's in the works for a few other things. And it's
He
also
did
like
something very recently.
he did,
Nice,
yeah, he did, and yeah, it was a stand special he did in his own theater room with a very small group of people.
Oh, that
It
was
just
bad.
Yeah, so Kevin Hart again is one of those
Yeah.
things where like I either laugh hard or don't laugh at all. He's very go big go home kind of person with me,
Yeah.
but that's his personality though.
Yeah.
So that's not necessarily a bad thing. It works for him. That's great.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that Netflix continue to bring this out. It's a market that no one has really taken over before, and they've done a
Since
fantastic job.
HBO. Since
Not at this
HBO.
level though. Not even close to this level though. Like
No,
HBO
but
did for sure. You're right.
yeah.
Like yeah, back in the day, HBO used to bring out all these damn specials, but Netflix just did that, but put on steroids. Like every comedian you've never heard of is on this. So
Yeah,
it's a
but
great.
having
It's
a
a,
lot of stand-up specials doesn't mean they're good stand-up specials. You know what I mean?
I didn't say they were good, right?
Oh, you're
I'm
just
just
talking about the ownership of the.
the
Oh,
ownership.
okay.
I've never
Okay.
once said they were good. I'm saying like it's giving a voice and a platform for a lot of comedians to do this and
Okay.
do what they love. Because I've always said I think comedians are the most talented people on the planet. I do believe that stand up comedy is one of the hardest things to do when it comes to the show business.
Yeah.
And for them to get the opportunity on the platform, whether they're good or not, they got that opportunity. And they can never say I never got that opportunity. And what they make from that, it's a whole different story. So I
Right.
do appreciate that happening. So if you haven't checked out Bo Burnham Inside, I would definitely check that out. I am watching an older show right now with Rupi. I've never watched the show because it's never really interested in me. She's seen it before, but she wanted to rewatch it because she's never actually finished the series. It's Jane the Virgin. So
Haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it before. It's never the cause. It's kind of dumb. So Jane,
Yeah.
she is this person. So her who's always trying to live her life according to a plan she created for herself. So her mom had her when her mom was 16 years old, so at a very young age. So she's always want to do something the right way, like wait until marriage to have sex.
Right.
Won't move in with a guy, won't move in with a guy unless they're engaged and about to get married or are married. This goes to school, become a teacher, all these things that she's always trying to accomplish. But then she gets pregnant. Again, she's still a virgin. She gets pregnant. And what happened was, I guess they went to a doctor's appointment, and this part's ridiculous, but the doctor mixed up the charts and thought that she was there to get
Inseminated.
impregnated. Right? So sounds it sounds off the rails, right? Because it
Yeah.
is. So one thing is really cool about this show, I think I know why it was so popular, was because it's not mocking, but it's homaging the non-North American soap operas.
Oh,
So
okay.
so it's really doing that. Like weird like I've ever if you've ever seen like a Mexican or Spanish soap opera, or I've ever seen an Indian soap opera,
telenovela?
or even
Yeah.
or any type of soap opera, this is it. Like this is what this show is trying to work itself to sort of be, but like not on purpose, like on purpose. Sorry, like they're doing it purposefully, which is amazing. Like they have all these insane twists. It's like, oh, you're my daughter. Oh, she is my. I have my. Who's this person? I thought he's dead. Oh, it's my twin brother. Like you know what I mean? Like all these weird twists and turns. And I'm only like 14 episodes. I'm only 14 episodes in so far, and like I've seen like drug cartels. I've seen murders. I've seen twin. Like you know what I mean? Like
My
I'm
God.
14 episodes into a 100 episode series,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, a lot is happening so far. What more can they do? It is absolutely insane.
Is
It's
it?
so fun. It's enjoyable. It's on Netflix. So if you want like an easy watch and you want to appreciate the drama behind it, because it is a comedy, right? So
Yeah.
it is like one's like genre is comedy, but has a dramatic thing behind it, and it's fantastic. I really recommend checking it out if you haven't.
Is it wrapped up now, or is it still going?
Oh yeah, it wrapped up years ago. Like it
Oh, okay,
finished
okay.
back in.
I thought it was yeah.
I know it finished at least 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. It wrapped up.
Okay.
But it is wrapped up.
Yeah.
It is wrapped up. It's yeah. So the entire series right now, at least in Canada, it's on Netflix. So if you're looking for like an easy sort of comedy to watch, I wouldn't call it a sitcom, but it is an easy show to watch. And it's not full of like insane details where you have to pay attention to everything. But
Mm-hmm.
like you're very into it, like how our parents are into like the Indian soap opera and dramas, or like anyone's into soap operas like
Yeah.
now. Or I'm not sure if soap operas are still out, but even now or back in the day. But it's worth a watch. If you haven't seen it, anyone out there, definitely check it out.
Anytime there's some drama happening to a Brown family and it's being televised, my parents will watch it.
Yeah, all of our
You know?
parents are watching it. That's the
Yeah.
only reason we have the whole Indian package upstairs. My mom can watch the drama or the comedy
Yeah.
shows, right? Like my mom,
Yeah.
I think that's where I get my
Yeah.
love from comedy from. My mom loves comedy, and I think that's where my passion for comedy comes from.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth checking out. But yeah, man, check it out. It's amazing. I'm excited to finally start watching Loki soon. I haven't watched it yet. It's
Not even the
been
first
lacking
one?
time. Not even the first one. It's been
Okay.
lacking a lot of time. Disney Plus had made the announcement that they're going to release all their episodes going forward on Wednesdays now. They're no longer doing the Friday part of it, which
Yeah.
I'll touch base later on our later part of the segment on Hot or Not. But first, we'll take a break and we'll come back and talk about Luca. Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited to talk about Luca, mainly because it's a Pixar movie. That's again what motivated us to have a Pixar week last week. So just a quick reminder: Luca is available everywhere for free. So it's not a premiere or a premium pricing, for free on Disney Plus, and it right now on Rotten Tomatoes it is getting a 90% critic score, 87% in audience, which is pretty awesome. A little spoiler alert, the audience score is a little higher of a score than I would personally give it,
Okay.
but 87% audience score there. It's pretty cool, mainly because like the director behind is Enrico Casaro. He has been with Pixar for a very long time, so this is his first director credit
Debut.
when it
Yeah.
comes to a Pixar film. He's worked on like everything. So he's been on Ratatouille, he's been on Up, he's been on Coco, he's done Up. Did I mention that already? I'm
Yeah, you
blanking.
did.
Yeah. So yeah, he's done shorts like Piper. He's done worked on other stuff like robots, but all of them as a story artist or a story artist working on the storyboard itself. So
Hmm.
it's firsthand on a director side, which to me you can kind of tell a little bit when it comes to this, but that no, he good great for him for doing something like that. And what was your first reaction when it comes to watching Luca? Like when you walked away from that?
When I walked away from it, I was thinking, Pixar, you fucking did it again, buddy. Like I'm not saying it was a great movie, but like it certainly
Mm,
did get me in the feels a little
mm-hmm.
bit. This is spoiler free, so I'll try to not say anything. However, yeah, walking away from it, I was thinking like, what a nice lesson, And I keep thinking that anytime I watch a Pixar film, I'm going to like morale school just to be a better person. I'm not sure if you feel that
Okay.
way.
Oh yeah, for some time. So if for those who haven't heard about Luca yet or haven't watched it yet, essentially it's about these sea creatures who and this child like it's very Little Mermaid like mixed with Finding Nemo, and that's how I would describe this show.
Mm.
So where this character Luca, name of obviously the movie,
Yeah.
he lives underwater. He's a sea creature, and he's always wanted to see what's on the other side and what is out there, and has very strict parents who are very scared for him because they live in the waters near Italy, where on this island fishing is a massive thing. And I personally don't know if that's an Italian thing in general or just that specific part of Italy, but fishing is a huge deal, and they're always hunting and looking for something from there because that's what their main course is every single day, and they
Right.
fish every single day, and that's their livelihood also grabbing this fish, and they there's a myth out there about the sea monsters, which what is Luca technically, right? He's not a monster, but that's what the people on land know them as.
Right.
Finally, Luca meets uh,
Alberto.
this other person, Roberto, who challenged them to leave the water
Hmm.
and bring him on land. Sorry, what did you say?
I was just gonna say it's Alberto.
Sorry, Alberto. Sorry, bring him on land, and essentially showed his whole other side. So like he didn't realize until he got on land for the first time that he changes to look like a human being. He doesn't really all this sort of stuff. So and sort of runs away and gets lost from his family. So it's a very it's just Luca not rebellious but really wants to be live an adventurous life and didn't want to be constrained to the life he had. He wanted to see what's out there, very curious. So
It's a very typical coming of age story. You know, like parents say they care for you, they love you, which they do, but then ultimately they're wanting to not hold you back, but they're wanting you to be safe and follow the mold. So it's a story that's been told time and time again. It was just a matter of how can Pixar tell it differently, and it showed because there was a lot of traits and there's a lot of scenes now that I'm thinking about it where it was just taken from other source material, whether it be their own or like just the genre of coming of age stories, regardless. So yeah, it it's it seemed like it was there wasn't much originality to it, but it was still really nice to watch. I'm not sure if
yeah,
you.
so Luca is voiced by Jacob Tremblay, good old Vancouver
Yeah.
kid, and Alberto by Jack Dylan Grazer, who, if you haven't seen anything he's been in, he's most recently been in Shazam, so he wasn't there recently.
Oh, okay.
So he's done work, and obviously the mom played by Maya Rudolph, which is obviously amazing. What I again, I don't know anything about the Italian culture. Like, I'm not gonna say to pretend that like I know everything about it and know what we're seeing if it's legitimate or genuine or if it's missing anything. But one thing that I love about Coco, and one thing I really love about that all like about the movie and the colorful and everything about it, it really felt like I was in Mexico. I was envisioning myself everything that's happening there, and it felt
Yeah.
amazing. When it comes to this, I was hoping, not the movie style, I was hoping I would get more of that feeling when it comes to being in Italy. So I was hoping a little more of that
Yeah.
to know more about the culture itself, right? If that was the case, I'm sure the movie would have been longer because the movie right now runtime is an hour and a half. So which I do appreciate that part about it. It wasn't a
Yeah.
long movie, so it was a very short story for some of the Pixar movies that have gone closer to the 2 hour mark. But my first takeaway from walking away from that movie was that. So I wish I felt well, I love traveling with movies. And one thing I'll always give off topic, I love Adam Sandler for. All his movies on Netflix are just like, hey, where can we travel next? As filmed there,
That's
right?
fair.
Because
Yeah.
like really, like, that's all he's doing, and it's nothing wrong with that. Like, hey guys, I feel like going to Europe this time. Let's make a movie there too while we're at it. I'll get paid to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I
Why
mean?
not?
All his movies are destination movies now on Netflix, and it's good for him, right? Vacation, travel, and get paid fat by Netflix. So I was hoping to get that feeling when I was watching Luca, to saying, okay, I'm in Italy right now. I'm hoping to get that feeling away from it, and I never really got that. So I don't know if that was on purpose or what was going on. And it's again not at the fault of the movie. It was
Right.
just something I hoped for going into it, and I let
Right.
myself down for that. So I'll be punishing Luca for my review in a bit, and my score in a bit because of that. Because I was hoping for more of that.
Yeah,
But like you
and
said,
it's not like there isn't a lot of vibrant Italian it's not like there isn't a lot of vibrant Italian culture, right?
no, exactly.
Like from when I went there, it wasn't like yeah, it looked very similar. Yeah, like the buildings and the streets, sure. But there's a huge subculture of things that are not based on the architecture or based on the streets or the sounds or whatever, right? So they did miss out on it. You're right. Coco did an absolutely fantastic job at making you feel like you were there, making you feel like you were immersed and you were learning.
You're part of the family and you're part of the
Yeah,
culture,
of
and
course.
it took advantage of the culture with the bright lights and the
Yeah.
colors and everything, and I love that about that, and I never got that from Luca, which it sucks. And again, this movie, it's a good movie, and I do recommend everyone to watch it if you haven't. Like if I like we like after watching this, and we had to do our rankings again for our favorite top 10 Pixar movies, it wouldn't make it. Like, and I don't think
Right.
it'd be close. There's a lot more
No.
movies that put it ahead of it still. Not even as an honorable mention, but I recommend watching it. Personally, I would give it a 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I'm struggling in between both because I love the animation.
Yeah.
I did love some of the friendship they had there, but again, like I was hoping the little chemistry was a little more. They really tapped into that towards the non-spoiler, but there's a race at the end between Roberto and Luca. So I do
Alberto, come
Alberto.
on.
I'm bad with names, guys. It is what it is. It's okay. But with Alberto and Luca towards the
Yeah.
end, and it was like I said, overall, I did enjoy it. I'd recommend watching it. Go check. It's free to watch. It's available to stream. I'll go watch it in theaters too if that was the case. Like I wouldn't regret watching it. I just
Okay.
something one of those things where like I
As an
wish for
adult or
something
as a kid?
anything.
Okay.
I'm as myself. All these movies I'm talking about, we'll be talking about as me watching it,
Okay.
right? So I will definitely watch this in the theaters. I have no shame in watching cartoon movies in theaters. I've always loved animation. I love
Oh yeah.
comedy, right? They're my usually my go to before I go to my crazy action stuff. But I I was hoping for a little more about it,
Yeah.
a little more from it. Sorry, and it felt safe when it comes to some of the
Yeah.
storyline with it. So that's my take. Well, so what would you rate it?
I give it a 6.5, 7.
Okay.
Yeah, it was for very similar reasons. But I also think if I wanted a coming of age story, there's other movies that are out there that that would have a very similar lesson and do it better. And I love my coming of age films. I'm a huge sucker for them. But yeah, this one it seemed like there was a lot of missed opportunity, and it seemed very generic. If you know, like, do you know what I mean when I say generic?
Yeah, that felt generic. I'm not punishing the movie for not giving it like an amazing life lesson again because that's not what always Pixar is, right?
Right, right,
And I'm okay with because be true to yourself. At the end of the day, that's what and there's nothing wrong with that lesson.
right,
There's no limit on how many times you can tell a story and how and the ways you can tell a story. And I'm okay.
right,
I was very okay with that part of it. I was
right.
very okay with the message sending. I was okay with the writing. It was just I wish we invested a little more into some of the relationship, like
The
the friendship,
culture, yeah,
and a little more the culture.
yeah.
That's really the only two things I'm punching punching the movie for, and that's why I didn't give it a 10 or a 9, and I'll lean towards more of an 8 than anything else.
I wonder when we'll get to a 10. You know, I wonder what movie we'll watch where like that's a 10.
It's only a few tens of I could name you all the movies right now. I'll give 10 out of 10, and
No, no,
it's
no,
based on
not
my
in the
list.
past, but like,
But I'm saying like you have to be that like when I name the movies I'll give 10 out of 10 right now. Like it's I don't know if it'll ever happen. Like my 10 out of
oh yeah,
tens going off topic. Like we have Toy Story 3. I have for animation. I have to give it to obviously Godfather 1, Godfather 2. You have Goodfellas. You have Training Day. We have Gladiator.
yeah,
Super Bad.
super bad. Yep,
Has
yep,
to be a 10 out of 10.
yeah,
And like there are a few other movies out there. Like I'm sure I'm missing a bunch that we think on my list, but you have to be a high caliber standard for sure. Like it's very hard to get a 10 out of
yeah,
10. At
and
least for
I
me, right? Like
yeah,
there's a reason why there's not a lot of movies out there that's 100% Rotten Tomato score or anything like that. Speak for that reason.
yeah. I wonder what's going to come out in the future of when we continue to do this and we say, "Yo, that was amazing, 10 out of 10."
John Wick,
Like you know,
Fast 11.
Fast 11. Oh, that's gonna be the amount of families they're gonna throw in that one movie is gonna be so insane. If you're getting paid, if you were to give me, I would say like $1 for every time they would use the word family in this the last movie, I'd probably have enough for like a Lamborghini. I would say. I can only imagine 20 years of family. It's just all. Oh, I can't wait for it. I can't wait for it. It's gonna be so fun.
Were you trying to tell a joke there because I didn't find that funny?
No, I just know. I just
Okay.
made my own self laugh, which is always the best
Okay.
medicine. You know.
Nothing wrong with that. So
There you
six and a
go.
half out of 10 you would give Luca.
6.5, 7, 7.
7?
Yeah,
So
six and a
is
half
that a
is my old crotchety man self. I'm just like, everything
so
sucks. You know.
that's your final score, 7 10.
7,
I'll
7.
stick with 8. I'll stick with 8 out of 10. So I'm a little higher on this movie than you are, Murad. But nothing wrong with it. Again, everyone, I still recommend to check this movie out. It's still a fun movie to watch. The animation is beautiful. The story is nice. Like everything, the friendships I really did enjoy. So definitely check it out.
Yeah.
the next movie we're going to talk about and why I brought that quote up. So for those who are movie fans will know the quote, but
I hate you
Murad
so much.
dropped the ball here. So that's from Godfather 2. When
Which scene?
Michael's talking to Fredo.
Oh. Okay, that's
That's
okay.
literally
Okay.
that's the one
It
word
all
I
came
left out.
racing back.
Yeah. So this is why I changed the quote, everyone. So me and musicals do not get along. Do I
Right.
like music in movies? I don't have an issue with.
Right.
Like to me, La La Land is not a musical. To me, it isn't. Right? Even
That's
though
I see why.
it's a subgenre, right?
Yeah.
Technically, NW like Straight
Straight
Outta
Outta
Compton
Compton.
was considered musical.
Yeah.
Like Stars Born had a musical subgenre. Like had all these things. I don't like where like a scene in the Heights where and there's a scene in the club where it all went dark and it starts singing, like where everyone is. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is going on? So here's why I'm mad at Murad. So I watched this movie. I actually got up early before the podcast to watch it. I was too tired to watch back to back movies. After
The
Luca,
vein
I
in
went
my
to
forehead
sleep.
is going crazy right now. Like he's gonna
So
he's gonna
so
say
so
it. He's
I,
gonna say it.
so after I went to so last night I got to work late.
Yeah.
Right, I'm not as lucky as Murad. You get to work from home and his TV's right there. 'Cause you can start watching it right away, but he didn't. It's okay. Life happens. It is what it is.
I
But
don't have a TV in my room.
Murad is working with working with communication. He's working better at it. He is getting better,
I'm
right?
getting better, guys.
I'll give him credit, but like
Yeah.
to go from complete shit to shit is still better technically, but it's still shit. But
That's
I
fair.
watched.
I
So
get it.
I
It's a
woke up a
step
little
up.
early. I woke up a little early, especially considering that In the Heights was a two and a half
Two and a
hour
half hour
movie.
movie.
I'm like, so I got up a little bit early. I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to watch this movie, so I could be prepared for today's podcast.
My goodness.
Because like Murad didn't say anything to me last night that he didn't
Yeah.
have time to watch it. So I lost my shit on him this morning because I paid for this on iTunes to rent for a movie that I did not want to watch in the first place. But Murad was excited to talk about this. And I'm like, you know what? It's a new movie. It makes sense to be excited to talk about it. And I
Yeah.
got what? And I was going to watch it. But then I find out this morning, as I'm texting him this morning, sort of like preparing for today and everything like that, he didn't watch it last night. He didn't finish it. Sorry. So who
Bro, you
knows
know
how
what?
much he got into? So I'm still talking, Murad. Give me 1 second here, okay? There's no defense. There's no defense of what happened, right? If you can't watch it, if you can't watch anything, it's all good, man. All good. But you could have messaged me, hey, Varun, I have time to watch it. No, I wouldn't have watched it. I wouldn't have watched it, right? Because I did not enjoy it. So, what challenged me
Yeah.
to look at this movie at a different way. So
Okay.
originally, my hope was for this review is to have you start off on this review because you are more interested in this movie. You're more interested in this genre than I am.
Yeah.
And and I'll build off of that and kind of go
Yeah.
break down more of the technical side of things. But with Into the Heights, with you letting everyone down, including myself, I'm still talking.
I wasn't gonna say anything. I just had to
I
gasp
saw you.
for
I saw you.
air while I
I
was
saw
getting
you winding.
crucified on this shit.
I saw you winding up. I was like, oh, okay. So he, yeah. So I'm gonna look at this different way. So this is the first
Yeah.
movie I watched where I knew I'm not gonna have any sort of attachment to or emotional reaction to. So partway through the movie, I had to change the way I felt about this movie and kind of focus on what might make this movie great. Why is this getting such a high score on everywhere? So right now on Rotten Tomatoes, it is getting 96% by
Yeah.
critics, 95% on audience. It is directed by John Chu. He has done musical documentaries in the past. He has done some action films. He's done a little bit of everything. Most famous one, Step Up. He's done GI
Yeah.
Joe. I think he did one of the Justin Bieber's documentaries, one of the first ones. So he's done. He's not an unknown. He's been around. Obviously, Lin Manuel Miranda, who's
course.
brought this up again, most famously from Hamilton. He has done some acting too. He does star in this one. starring Anthony Ramos, which during the entire movie, I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere. Where's he from? And then I realized finally, hey, he's from Honest Thief. So if you haven't seen that with Liam Neeson, it's a fun heist action movie.
Yeah.
It's if it's a quick thing, but I'll give like a 6 out of 10, 5.5
Yeah.
out of 10. I do enjoy it, so I do
Yeah.
recommend everyone to watch it if you haven't.
Yeah.
And amazing cast, right? So we have just to name a few, like we have Jimmy Smits for most famous from me. You're too young for this, Murad, but NYPD Blue as Detective Bobby Simone, like he is
Okay.
fantastic in that. Another role that I love him in was he has done a cameo in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's
Yeah, I was
been
gonna say
in
I know him as Santiago's dad.
Sons of Anarchy, which I
Okay.
actually one of the first TV series I really invested into him when it comes to post NYPD Blue.
Hmm.
Speaking of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Stephanie Beatrice was in this. For a lot of people, obviously for Brooklyn Nine-Nine as Rosa Diaz. Going a little off topic here. On TikTok, I've been noticing a lot of people really online, really reacting like what like, she's completely different from this.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
if that's your first exposure to the different side of Stephanie, please check out her interviews because I was thrown off about this years
Yeah.
ago, and for me, what really set her off, like when she played Sonia Ramirez in Modern Family, when she
Yeah.
when she done her cameos in there, so please check her out. But looking at it in a different way, and that's how Murad let everything. This is why we're here today,
So
and
can I ask you
Murad
a
let everyone
question?
down. Yeah.
Did you switch up the way you were watching the movie because at that moment you found out that I hadn't seen it, or was it just something before that?
Oh, because you haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So halfway through the movie, I had to switch the gears a little bit, and I actually went back a little bit into the movie to pick up a few
Okay.
things that I could because originally my plan was to sort of feed off of your emotional reaction to it and
Yeah.
react to that and kind of get my tidbits from that. But from that, I had to watch this movie in a more of an emotionless way and just look at the technical side of things, look at the acting,
Yeah.
look at the. So it's very different from how I watch movies. Because my biased opinion, I would give this a 0 out of 10 because I find it
Oh.
annoying.
Okay.
Like, no, again,
It
biased
is. It can
opinion.
be annoying for sure.
No. It cannot. It can be annoying. It is annoying to me, right?
For
And
you,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. And for those musical fans out there, I'm sorry, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm a hypocrite because I love the Fast and Furious series, and that's dumb as hell. So if you want to crucify me online, please do so. It's all good. I can take it, but I hate musicals.
Yeah.
Especially like this. It goes crazy. I grew up with Bollywood movies,
Yeah.
and maybe that scarred me. I don't know, but I'm not into it. But walking away from this movie, my first reaction walking away from Into the Heights, it was beautifully shot.
Yeah.
I thought it was a lot of great potential in there. I wasn't a huge fan of Anthony Ramos, but I wasn't sure if it didn't like his character. Like I don't like when people rap in musicals. I'm not a big fan of that. But what stood out to me over everything though is Melissa Barrera. So she played opposite of Anthony Ramos in this movie. And to me, the chemistry that she brought and the electricity that she brought to the movie was fantastic. This is Melissa's first exposure to North America big screen. She's never done anything like this before. A lot of her previous work, according to IMDb, has been more in the Spanish language or Mexican films. So this is the first exposure to an English type movie. I thought she was great. I love her chemistry. I love her energy. That was my first reaction getting away from this, and I I did understand why this movie did as well as it did, and why it got as much hype as it did.
Yeah.
And the excitement was there, and everything was there because it was visually stunning. It had all the right stories for, like the character development, everything, and that was there for this movie. From the little bit you've seen from the movie, Murad, how far did you get into the movie, and what was
I
your
got
reaction
about
from that?
I got about 20 minutes in.
You barely got.
So
That's
so
barely
listen.
anything.
Right,
You were just
but
it's a tip. Come on, man.
Oh my god, come on. We could swear, but I don't know. That one took me by surprise. Just the tip? Alright. So,
Do you know what that means? Do you need to have a
yeah.
conversation offline? Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
we'll have that maybe not, but we'll see.
No.
No, what I was what I thought was interesting with this one, and I'm just like with that's so different than Bollywood movies. Is Bollywood movies when they're having a musical number, it's completely separate from the story. It's not they're not continuing the story in the form of music, and after watching, let's say, like you had said, La La Land or like even Straight Outta Compton and things like that, like they weren't continuing the story based off of the music, right? Like that's the part that kind of like irks me too when like there's a scene from my limited knowledge when they were in the gas station, not the gas station, his bodega, and Corey Hawkins' character, he's starting to talk, and then he just starts to sing, and then it's such a harsh transition to me, and it that's what confuses me a little bit because it's like a weird jolt of electricity, but in a bad way, right? Whereas let's say like if it's completely separate from the story and there's just music involved, similar to let's say Straight Outta Compton, like you didn't see Dr. Dre in that movie, like talk to Easy and then suddenly just start like rapping from out of nowhere. Like it was like they were in a session and it was continuing based off that. So that's my one take on this. After watching things like Mamma Mia, which does a very similar thing, you can see where movies that were supposed to be like musicals on Broadway get turned into movies. They continue the same sort of way of storytelling where you're talking and then randomly burst out into song. It's not separate from it, and you could see that from Mamma Mia to even Hamilton, um, which or like was a musical and they just sort of filmed it and put it out on Disney Plus, and now like this one as well, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's weird. That's the only part of it I don't like.
Yeah, again, this is all straight up personal opinion. This isn't the
Of
fact
course,
about the
of
movie
course.
because the transition, again, like looking at this movie when it comes to an unbiased opinion, like I thought the transition was fine. I thought the singing was, I could see it being very joyful.
Right.
I love the different story elements about the movie, and I think that's
Yeah.
part of the reason why I was able to pay attention for the movie because I love the different characters. I
Yeah.
love the backstory of the different characters. A lot of great cameos in this movie. You missed them all because later on
Right.
in the movie you see all these amazing cameos, famous singers, actors, everyone. So it's really cool to see
Yeah.
them get involved. And I know we talked offline like how these actors are bridging together when getting to musicals. This has always been happening in our entire lives, like
Mm.
with Anne Hathaway, Hugh Jackman, Russell
Yeah.
Crowe, like whoever it may be when it comes to doing musicals because they have that theater experience.
Right.
These are the acting work that we don't know anything about. We're in New York, in LA, also not
Right.
LA, but like in Europe or anywhere else it may be. They do a lot of this theater work when it comes to just plays or musicals. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really cool to see the easy transition for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just again, this wasn't for me. So going away from that part of it
Mm-hmm.
was that if just looking at the visual, just looking at the story, and just looking at like everything about that, I would give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay.
That's a pure straight up this credit score because I can see why people love that. I can see how people enjoy that. Unfortunately, it is taken up by the controversy behind the movie, which we'll dabble into the moment
Yeah.
here. But the controversy is unfortunately the bigger story of the movie over everything else. But just looking just looking at the movie directly, it was a movie where like I can see again, I'm repeating myself, but I can see a lot of people loving and enjoying for sure. But when it comes to the controversy behind it, Murad, did you know more about that or
I did some research on it this morning. There was something to do with a misrepresentation or mischaracterization of Puerto Rican people or like people from the DR.
yeah, so my some of the source material I'm using is CNET, but it's obviously all over Twitter and everything like that.
Right.
But so clearly the movie is showing the Bronx, the Heights, Washington Heights in New York,
Yeah.
and it's trying and really represent the land culture. So trying to represent the Latino community, but there were some viewers online, like non-critics, who really expressed their heartbreak on the lack of representation by Afro Latino. So
Okay.
Afro Latino, Black Hispanics, especially from the Dominican, was not represented. And I want to read. I had one tweet here, so and I'm sorry for not giving them credit for this tweet because the tweet was posted on again cnet.com. But y'all don't understand this y'all don't understand this isn't about diversity. We are asking why a film about Dominicans in the Heights doesn't look anything like Dominicans or the Heights. Dominicans are mostly black. The Heights is mostly a black Dominican neighborhood, and from that movie, watching the movie, you didn't get the representation.
Mm.
And there was an article on June 9th by Felicion, who writes for The Root. Throughout history, there has been exclusion of and violence towards blackness with Latinidad. So apparently, this is a very known thing. And knowing what I know about Miranda, I don't feel like this was purposeful,
Right.
but about purposeful or not, it's definitely it's still
That's
an
what's
issue.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, it did happen. I haven't they have responded to this yet, but I haven't read the responses for it because my research was I was very last second, so I did something very recently. But that's that. So that was the case. What was your thought when you read this?
I understand. I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the fact that most Dominicans were like black Dominicans, and I didn't know the story behind the Heights. But if that's not if that's true, because that's true, I get it. Uh, and I'd also be frustrated. Let's say if they made a movie uh, on like Vancouver's Main Street, right? Like this is how I can relate to it. Like Vancouver's Main Street past a certain point is very very heavily based. It's Little India, right? So if they were to make a movie based on Main Street and they didn't have that or they didn't show that, I'd wonder what's going on. So that's how I can relate to it. Um, and I understand it. However, there's parts of me that are thinking I always just take movies at face value. I don't look at it as I don't criticize it too much because they did or they did not have one thing. Especially if I don't know about that certain neighborhood, right? Or if I
Yeah,
don't know about that story too much. Let's say if they were to make a movie on like the roots, or if they were to make a movie on like let's say Frank Sinatra, right? One of many, and they didn't talk about like the influence of black music, I wonder what's going on, right? I didn't know about this much, so I don't think I can really weigh in on it. But since that's the case, Black Dominican Heights is a Black Dominican neighborhood, and they don't show it. Yeah, it's fucked up.
yeah. Like we take it at face value because we're not related to it, and we
Right.
don't know anything about it, like you just said.
Yeah.
So I had no idea this was when I saw there's a representation issue with Miranda's like into in the Heights. I'm like, really? Like, I
Yeah.
was so confused by that until I actually read the article, and I was like, oh, okay, this is a real thing, and people are really upset about this. But I still like that. I would if you like musicals. Like, it's unfortunate this happened, but I still recommend watching it for
Yeah.
everyone. It's unfortunate this happened, and I hope this does get not overcorrected, but does this get corrected?
Yeah.
And I am going to read Miranda's responses afterwards to this.
He's just been
But
apologizing a lot from what I've read. But do you think this stains the movie?
no, I don't think so. I could see a standing movie in a lot of communities for sure, and
Right.
it hurts a lot of communities absolutely. I don't think 4 or 5 years on the road we will, as a general public that's not familiar with that community, or just a lot of people around the world,
Hmm.
will not relate that representation to this movie.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like
Yeah.
I right. So that's my prediction. It's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate, and I hope that directors who do want, because like the Heights is the main character of the movie, right? So
The
that's the
neighborhood.
main
Yeah.
character. So if that's the main character, you have to show off your main character, and represented as it should. And the main character wasn't represented as it should.
Right.
So those who are familiar with the main character are like, what is happening?
Mm-hmm.
For those like myself and you, Murad, who were not educated before watching this movie, will take it like taking your word, taking your quote, take it at face value.
Right.
So I hope that going forward, that anyone who watched this movie is familiar with the issue going into the movie, but and other directors and other film creators do correct this mistake going forward.
Right.
Yeah,
Got
man.
you.
Yeah. So, like I said, like taking the controversy out of it just for half a second here. Again, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I can see why people are giving it a 9. I can see why people love it. It is joyful, it is colorful, it's everything that you want in a musical.
Yeah, I was
And
reading the fan reviews, and a lot of people are just they're happy because it's just a giant, massive explosion of like celebration of like people being together, and especially after the hellacious year that we've had last year, and it's still sort of etching on into this year. There is now a light at the tunnel, and a lot of people see movies like this as, oh my god, like it's big, it's loud, there's people together. Although it was really not unnerving, but it was really fascinating to see that many people in a place again, uh, because it's something that was shot recently, right? And it wasn't something that was shot pre-pandemic or thing. Like this was
yeah,
written. Miranda had said like this was because people had been away for so long. Why not create a movie where everyone is together, right?
yeah,
And they're all. It's all about community. The story, from what I've read, is a story that every kid can relate to, especially if it's people like us. We have dreams and things like that, right? There was one cringy dialogue, and I'm sure it'll continue, but if that dialogue served any prediction of what was going to happen, I could tell there's going to be a lot of like, ooh, that's this really weird dialogue because people don't really talk like that.
it's a musical. No, it's
I
not
know,
like
I
you know what I
know,
mean.
but
Like it's a musical.
no, but
Like
but even
how
for
is it?
musicals,
How
it was
how is
cringy
it?
for
Am I?
musicals, bro.
How is it? I'm giving well, all musical are cringy.
No,
No
no, no,
musical is
no,
not cringy.
no, no,
Name a
no.
musical that's not cringy. Name one.
A proper musical that's not cringy, Hamilton. Hamilton's not cringy. Hamilton's but like this is not a spoiler. There's someone just said they're kicking out the dreamers, and I was just thinking, what? Like what? Who talks like that? No one. No one smolders, and it's weird. So yeah, that's me. Let's
All
let's
right,
take a
guys.
quick little break, and
Yeah.
and you'll join us back for. I think that was the energy you're giving off. So you know what? Let's take a break. We'll come back for Hot or Not.
It's time for hot or not. I have some interesting ones this week.
Okay.
More from interview reactions and things like that. I'm gonna kick us off because I've been itching to talk about this
Okay, let's
all
go.
week.
Let's go.
So for of course we have the Fast Nine coming out in a couple weeks here. Tickets are available. I'm so pumped for that, and the VIP theaters are open. So definitely gonna check that out. I'm sure VIP theaters are available everywhere, but for those, I know I have some US fans out here, but for those who don't know what VIP theaters, what I mean by that is a movie theater for 19 and over where they serve you food and alcohol. So I am very excited to check that out. Again, I do miss it. It is overly expensive, but I'm pumped.
Yeah.
But speaking of Fast Night, I Ubisoft.
Oh,
So
I know.
Dom. So with interviews and everything, you know what I'm talking about. Dom Toretto,
Yeah.
aka Vin Diesel, has been doing
Did
these
you
interviews
say
to
Dom
promote.
Toretto, aka Vin Diesel? His
Yes.
character came first. Wow.
Absolutely.
Dang.
Who is it? Who? Like, come on. And this is why and I did this. I did this for a reason.
No, I like it.
So Dom Toretto hints at having a solo movie. I love the Fast and Furious. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah. But
But I'm going to misquote this tweet, and I can't remember who said this. But the line stated something like, there's never been an actor that had an ego that was so much bigger than their talent level.
it's very true.
You know what? How is
Yeah.
the main fucking character, considering getting a spin off movie? Spin off movies are usually 10 for. Like, if made a Han spin off movie,
Yeah.
because I think he'd be so interesting to follow.
Yeah.
With the Tokyo, him traveling back and forth across the globe. I think his spin-off movie would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Please make a Han spin-off movie. Please make a Gal Gadot spin-off movie. But what Vin Diesel, Dom, what is up with this? You don't deserve a fucking solo movie or a spin-off movie. It doesn't make sense. I'm clearly out on this, which is hard for me to say because I love the Fast and Furious. This is clearly a money grab,
Yeah.
and if anything, all this proves to me is that the beef between The Rock and Vin Diesel is real. Is I never doubted that beef in the first place. The reason why is The Rock is not going to be in future Fast films and he's having his own spin-off movie.
So what? Why? What is the beef? I just heard they don't like
Egos.
each other. Is that it?
Egos. It's egos.
That's
It's all at
so
the end of the
fucked
day
up.
because Rock was his new guy. So Rock was a new guy coming into this fucking family, right? And let's be real, Fast Five was a rebirth of the franchise,
Right.
right? And what was the difference between the Fast Five and everything else? Yes, it was a
Rock.
heist movie, but The Rock.
Yeah.
People were excited to watch The Rock, and that helped launch not only Rock's action career, like he was already turning to a star prior to that movie,
Right.
but it definitely gave it a boost. But I think it gave it the Fast franchise another boost, and I believe ever since then, there's been a back and forth between that. And I originally thought that it was fake beef to create and stir drama for the new Fast movie, but this is clearly real, and I 100% believe that Dom is super jealous that The Rock got his own successful spin-off movie because guess what, guys? He's not a main character. He's a side character that has smaller roles in these movies. Vin, man, you don't get your own movie. You try to watch your own movies. You're not a good actor. Like, come on,
if
man.
you think about it,
You're
like,
Dom. You're Dom, and that's it.
Yeah.
Make your bank, collect your checks, collect your royalty checks,
Yeah.
call it a day. You're
Yeah.
set for life. Just from streaming alone, you'll make money off of me for the rest of your life. I'll be
Just
watching
you,
Fast
bro.
and Furious. Just like for the rest of my life, I'll watch Fast and Furious till the end of time.
Yeah.
My kids will watch Fast and Furious. My grandkids, my great grandkids. I'm gonna pass these DVDs down for generations to come. They will all love the Fast and Furious franchises.
Yeah.
Especially when number 20 to 25 or 30 comes out, when they reboot it. Right? Like it's gonna happen.
Vin Diesel's gonna be in a walker. He's just gonna like. Ugh.
But yeah,
He's
he's gonna still star in it. He's gonna put Nas in his fucking wheelchair and go nuts. So I'm out on this.
Yeah.
So that's my take.
Yeah.
You now.
My take is like, okay, if you were to look at Fast and Furious, there was, well, how many movies was he not in? 2 of them, right? Of Tokyo Drift and Hobbs and Shaw. Technically?
Sorry, who?
And the
Han?
second one.
Han?
Vin Diesel,
Sorry,
Vin Diesel.
Which
wasn't
one
in
he
3 of
hasn't
them,
been in?
right? Yeah.
He wasn't in number
2.
2. That's it.
Oh, Tokyo Drift, he was there at the end.
Yeah, at the cameo. He was a cameo at the end,
Okay.
right? So which
And
kind of give us
was he
hope
in Hobbs and
that
Shaw? I haven't seen it yet.
no.
Okay.
No.
So-
But anything with Fast or Furious in it, he has been in. So-
Okay. Right, fair. He is fast. He is furious. He is our Lord and Savior. But I kind of see that as him, like, throughout the movies telling us more about his past. So I don't know why he needs a prequel. Is it going to be about, like, how he became Dom Toretto, like him in high school or some shit? Or, like, what is it? Or do we not know
No,
yet?
if there's no details yet.
Okay.
But the only thing I could think of is having side adventures. Like
Nah,
it's
fuck
like,
that,
not,
I'm
not,
out.
not a prequel because like a prequel means he's not in the movie,
Until the end.
right?
He, like, becomes Dom.
Yeah, but he needs to be the star.
Nah, I'm out. No, why would I want to see that? What does he have to show me? That doesn't have anything to do with cars, being fast, being furious, and wearing that crucifix around his neck and saying family. Like there's nothing else I need from him. That's it. And he's a bad actor, but he's good in that role because no one else can just do what he does and then make like movies that last 20 years and the saga is still going, right? But I don't want to see him do side adventures. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
in.
I'm out. No.
I'm not in.
Yeah.
But so speaking of fast,
Yeah.
so on topic, I'm very excited for someone. So I did a little sneak peek on IMDb to see like who else you might see. Bad Bunny is making because usually every movie has for a musical artist. I could do a cameo, so Bad Bunny's in this. So I'm very excited
Nice.
about that. My boy, the Podfather himself, Bill Simmons, looks like he plays a has a cameo role on this.
Oh
So
shit.
I
That's pretty
am
cool.
very excited about that. I think he's his pit crew. That's the thing. He's pit
That's
crew.
tight.
And does look like it's reason it's a 2.5 hour movie is because there's a lot of backstory when it comes to them being younger.
Yeah.
Like everyone has kids, so super excited about that. But yeah, I'm out on Vin Diesel having a solo movie. Please don't
Yeah.
fucking do it. Rob, you're next.
Damn. I want to talk about a documentary that they announced. It's a Marvin Gaye documentary. It's called
Yeah,
What's Going On, which
yeah.
of course makes sense. So it centers around, well, it's, first of all, it's directed by Alan Hughes. So Man Society, Book of Eli, and of course a lot of other titles. But it centers around like Marvin Gaye's creation of, I would say, one of my most favorite albums of all time. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Um, it came out in 1971, but it centers around the idea of like, uh, you know, black kids going to fight in Vietnam when there was war at home, and like just a lot of um, tension between the black community and what was going on in Vietnam, and how they think that it wasn't fair for them to fight. Ali echoed the same sentiments. So I'm really excited. I'm excited for this because anything that has to do around that time frame where you're telling a story about some sort of rebellion and it's done through music, hell yeah. And if it happens to be centered around one of my most favorite albums, I want to say of all time, then I'm all in for it. Marvin Gaye is such a spectacular wealth of knowledge, and such a rich person in the sense of not monetary, but in terms of his history and his impact. And I'm excited to see them tell this story. What about you?
I'm in. Like I'm in
Oh
for
yeah.
now, only because I want to know who's playing Marvin Gaye. I don't believe they've announced that yet. I'm
No.
on the production. It sounds like, but the movie is coming out in 2023, so clearly have plenty of time to create that story
Yeah.
and to cast everyone. But as of right now, I'm very curious about. I love music biopics. It's an Oscar bait movie for sure. It's done really
100%.
well in the box office, so I'll say it's pretty straightforward for me. I'm in on that one.
Perfect. What do you got for us next?
I mentioned this earlier in the episode, but a quick thing about Disney Plus changing their release schedules for originals on for Fridays to Wednesdays, with the massive hit that Loki's been for the last couple of weeks now and the high amount of viewers. I'm a big fan of this, and this is why I'm a big fan of it because a lot of new movies, especially with theaters reopening now,
Yeah.
people will be going back to the movie theaters and watching movies again. With Black Widow coming out next week, they don't want to compete with each other, right? No one wants Black Widow and Loki. They want people to watch both, and I think having their hit TV series, which has been 100% on par so far when it
Hmm.
comes to the MCU and the Disney and Star Wars, and among other things, has done so great so far when it
Yeah.
comes to the original series, and they want to continue that trend. And if they can spread it out, I'm all for it. I do. I'm so happy they did that. I don't see any downside of it unless like you're one of those people who like love to talk about the TV show the next day and you go to work and you haven't seen the episode yet. It kind of sucks. But besides that, when it comes to release schedule based on the movies itself, I'm glad to separate the TV show
Yeah.
to the movies release
Yeah.
dates.
Yeah, I am too. I never even thought about it that way. But yeah, it makes sense for them to do it that way. And I never understood why. The Friday's always been a premiere day for everything, right? Whether it be like music, movies, whatever. I never thought that TV deserved that. Not deserved, but like I never thought that TV would have that like Friday night premiere feeling because it's a much more smaller affair that is ongoing, right? A movie, you watch it once, you like it, maybe you watch it 2 or 3 times, but like a TV show, you're investing so much time into it, and for it to be given the same, like, breadth of like, oh, it's like a Friday night premiere thing, and I also didn't like it when Game of Thrones did that on Sunday, but that they created that world and everything felt like a premiere, but very very smart of them to do it this way because yeah, if you have the power to compete, or if you have the privilege to move your own programming because you might compete with yourself because everything you're putting out is so good, you're in a really good position, right? So good
Awesome.
on you, Disney. Thank you for making my Friday nights a little bit easier.
All right, man. Wrap it up. What do you have
Yeah.
next?
I have so uh it's a movie called Pussy Island. It's Zoe Kravitz's directorial debut.
Hmm.
And we're gonna see Channing Tatum back on our screen. I know he's taken a little bit of a hiatus since he became a father. I think the last thing, correct me if I'm wrong, what would have been Magic Mike 2? Or that would have been like his last big release.
Okay.
Um, so Zoe Kravitz is set to play Catwoman in the Batman franchise, or just that one Batman film. I'm not sure if they're going to continue it, but essentially, this is a movie that she's directing. It's around this waitress who's trying to get into this inner circle of this rich tech mogul. His name is Slater King, who's played by Tatum. And it's what Kravitz has said is that this movie is called Pussy Island because it's talking about how actors, mainly male actors in Hollywood, for so long have just sort of treated it like their personal Playboy pen. You know, like they sort of go around, or not even like actors, but like people in the industry, whether it's like tech or entertainment or whatever, they sort of just go and talk to these women and they do whatever and they don't really think about their actions. This is sort of like a story where someone tries to infiltrate that and then sort of not destroy it, but they sort of like weave around it and find out the real truth of societies like this. Is giving me very promising young woman vibes, and I get it. So I'm I think I'm out on this for now, but I'm curious to see how it continues to go. What about you?
Before it, so Channing Tatum has done quite a few works since Magic Mike 2. So I'm not sure if you remember, but he's done the Hateful Eight. I'm talking about non-anime. He's done a lot of animated stuff, but he does Hateful
Right.
Eight. He was in Hail Caesar. He was in Logan
Oh, that's
Lucky.
right.
Right, so he's done quite a few stuff. So it's only been
Yeah.
2 3 years since he's been off screen. And he's done animated films too. So he's done voice work too.
Yeah.
So so yeah, he's definitely been around. It feels like a long time, but
It does
it's
feel
been a
like a
couple
long
years
time.
since big screen. But I'm in on this because I like Channing Tatum. I don't think he's amazing actor, but I do find his movies are usually at least entertaining.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Like I know he's done a lot of short stuff. Like even that's the sequel to Kingsman that came out. He was in that too for a short time.
Oh, that's
So
right.
yeah, so he's done a lot of work.
Whoa. All
Because
these
Magic
movies
Mike
are
Two
just like,
didn't
yeah.
come out. Magic Mike Two was like 2015, wasn't it? So it's
I
like
think
that can be
so.
6 years since he's done work. He's definitely been in our
Yeah. I
lives
guess I've never
since
registered
then.
because they're not his movies. You know what I mean? So like I guess I've never registered them as like he's there, but I've never registered
But
him.
he's also not
Yeah.
really a person I enjoy watching him when he carries the movie. But then you watch movies like 21,
21 and
22 Jump
22
Street,
Jump
right?
Street. Yeah.
But again, like he is with someone. Like he's with co-starring with someone,
Yeah.
right? So all these movies he's been creating, like I love. Have you seen Logan Lucky?
I watched it when it came out, but nothing.
It is a near perfect movie. I absolutely love that movie, and I thought he was fantastic in that.
Yeah.
I think I love Channing Tatum more in comedy than drama,
Okay.
but I'm definitely in on this movie. I'll give it a shot. So I'll say I'm hot.
All right. Well, there
All
you
right, man.
go.
So just a quick recap for our reviews today. So like I said, Luca, I personally give it an 8 out of 10. Murad gave it a 7 out of 10. Either way, we recommend and watch. It's free on Disney Plus. We have In the Heights. Outside the controversy, I still recommend everyone to watch it. It's still
Yeah.
a stunningly visually like a visually stunning film. If you're a musical fan, I can see everyone loving this. Based on that alone, I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Murad let us down by not watching it after 20-minute mark because he is a bastard. So
Whoa.
with
Yeah.
that,
Okay.
with that, catch you guys in the flippy flop.
Peace and love. Take care.